It's not new that the Mexico-US border makes headlines due to the thousands of immigrants trying to enter American territory illegally. Driven by the hope for a better life and more opportunities, people from various parts of the world take risks in countless ways to live the American dream. Ironically, according to some studies and various accounts found online, more and more US citizens, despite being born in the country and enjoying everything that thousands or millions of migrants desire, are now leaving the country. This exodus is especially noticeable among younger generations, who are no longer enchanted by the American dream and are seeking a new way of life. For many, Europe has become a new El Dorado, where they can live in a completely different manner. But ultimately, why are young people leaving or planning to leave the United States? Why are certain European countries becoming so attractive to them? And what are they discovering when they leave a country that, for many, is considered perfect? Take a look at neighborhoods like Little Italy, Chinatown, and many others that house foreign communities in the United States, and you'll see how immigration has played an important role in shaping American society over centuries. Even today, the flow of people coming into the country has always been much greater than that of people leaving, as residents seemed content and without reasons to leave. However, data, such as this chart from Statista.com, shows that passport issuance has risen year after year, surpassing 20 million documents issued annually in the pre-pandemic period. As a result, around 45% of Americans now hold a passport, and the number of people leaving, or at least wanting to leave, continues to grow. According to a survey by the Gallup Consultancy, published by the Washington Post in 2022, 15% of Americans intended to leave the country permanently. Looking specifically at younger demographics, the numbers are even higher. A study by the language platform Preply, conducted with 3,000 young people from across the country aged 18 to 26, asked how much they felt their future was somewhere else in the world. The answer had to be given on a scale from 1 to 5, with a higher number indicating a stronger feeling that the future lay far from home. The results were surprising. The national average score was 3.1, but in some states, like Pennsylvania, it was close to 5. A simple search for American expats in English will reveal hundreds, perhaps thousands of videos showcasing the lives of these influencers in different corners of the world. In these videos, besides comparisons, many offer step-by-step guides to immigration, provide various tips, and discuss, among other things, the pros and cons of living abroad. And as we're talking about the internet and the influencer world, in recent years, the term digital nomad has gained traction, with thousands of people who can work anywhere in the world choosing this new lifestyle. But what exactly are so many Americans finding abroad that they can't find in the United States? While thousands or even millions around the world wish to live in the US to access better job opportunities in the planet's largest economy, that's exactly what many young Americans are fleeing from. The scenario is completely different in some European countries, like Spain, Portugal, Italy, or the Netherlands, where workers are entitled to paid vacations of about 30 days per year. A comparison by The Economist shows that American workers work an average of 1,811 hours per year, while Europeans work only 1,571 hours per year. The difference is 240 hours annually, which is the equivalent of having about 10 extra days per year to dedicate to rest, personal projects, or travel, another reason many young people cite for choosing Europe over the United States. In several accounts we've seen on YouTube expatriate channels, it's clear that these factors weigh heavily in many young Americans' decisions to seek a new life away from the United States. The ability to visit multiple countries with short trips that can be made even on a long weekend is another attraction. The US, being one of the largest countries in the world, means that short trips are generally limited to within the country itself, or at most to nearby neighbors like Mexico and Canada. In Europe, however, depending on the country of residence, a 2-hour flight can take you to various countries, allowing you to experience entirely different cultures. For anyone watching this video from a country with high levels of violence, like almost all in Latin America, it might be hard to imagine that some Americans are leaving the United States due to safety concerns. But this is one of the most frequently cited reasons in interviews and videos. If you follow the videos here on the channel or news about the United States, you're likely aware that the country is facing a true epidemic of opioid addiction, which is changing the landscape of major cities like San Francisco and increasing the number of thefts and robberies. While researching American channels about leaving the US, I came across David Wenz, whose most watched video shows his return to his home country after 5 years living in Europe and how his perception has changed. One of the points he highlights is the shock he felt seeing so many homeless people in California, as well as the daily insecurity that prevents citizens from doing routine activities like going out alone at night or holding their phones in their hands. Many young people also mention the frequent mass shootings in the United States, especially in schools. To put it in perspective, by December 4th, 2023, 627 mass shootings had already been recorded, with the worst incident resulting in 18 fatalities in Reston. Monica Zielinski, an American living in Poland, shared how, even thousands of miles away, these events still affect her. She was once alarmed on public transport when she saw someone she thought looked suspicious moving an object under his shirt. In reality, the man was simply hiding a can of beer, and she quickly realized how Americans have become almost paranoid over incidents like these. Speaking of public services like safety, this is not always cited as a reason to leave the US, but for those who do, it often becomes a reason not to return. Generally, when it comes to public services, it becomes a choice between two completely different worlds. In the United States, for instance, if a citizen needs an ambulance, they might have to pay between $400 and $1,200. Then each additional procedure adds to the cost, and a trip to the emergency room, according to internationalinsurance.com, can run up to a staggering $10,000. That's why stories like the one shared by The Economist are common, where an American writer who moved to Lisbon discovered that a health insurance plan for her and her family cost just a fraction of what it would in the United States. The same shock has been noted regarding the infrastructure in European cities, which, unlike American cities, are compact, dense, and offer numerous mobility options without needing a car. The word shock was literally used by Jordan Green on his YouTube channel to describe his reaction after moving from the United States to Valencia, Spain. In a video, he explained that he had already seen several American cities, including New York, Dallas, and Los Angeles, but had never seen anything like this, where many people go about daily activities like grocery shopping or going to work on foot, by bicycle, or using public transportation. In the United States, the norm would be to do everything by car. In that same video, he mentions another important factor: costs. He explains that in Spain, with the same amount he used to spend on food alone in the United States, he can buy food for 2 people. The lower cost of living serves as an incentive for Americans working for U.S. companies who don't need to be physically in the country, in what's called geographic arbitrage, or digital nomadism. These terms refer to people who can work from anywhere in the world as long as they have internet access, and this trend has grown significantly. Many countries have created specific visa options, allowing these professionals to live legally. Portugal, for example, received around 7 applications per day in the first year of implementing this type of visa, with Americans leading in application numbers. Similarly, other European countries, such as Spain, Italy, Germany, and Greece, offer some form of authorization for these professionals. Of course, this invasion of other countries isn't always welcomed by locals, as it can lead to issues like rising rent prices and lack of integration with the local community. But that's a topic for another video, as what we're going to look at now are the preferred destinations for Americans who decide to leave the country. Historically, due to geographical proximity, Canada and Mexico have always been the preferred destinations for Americans choosing to leave the country. Even today, Mexico has been the choice for many Californians seeking lower costs while staying close to the U.S. However, new immigrants are increasingly opting for other destinations. According to 2022 data, the United Kingdom received 22,000 Americans, 2,000 more than those who chose Mexico. Canada has also lost some popularity, and today more Americans choose to move to France, Spain, and Germany than to cross the northern border. The choice of the United Kingdom as a top destination is fairly obvious, due to the shared language and historical ties between the two countries. However, we're seeing a rising interest in Portugal, Greece, Italy, and Spain. This aligns with the reasons we discussed earlier, as these countries offer a combination of lower costs, a more relaxed lifestyle, and pleasant weather most of the year, with sunshine and beautiful beaches. Although this trend is growing, the number of Americans leaving the country is still small, and, for now, is unlikely to affect the economy or local population. In fact, the US continues to attract more people than it loses. The Gallup study I previously mentioned, conducted with nearly 500,000 people in 152 countries, assessed what would happen if citizens decided to move abroad. According to its methodology, the US would ultimately see a 45% population increase, showing that the country remains a dream for many. However, the situation becomes slightly more concerning when the study looks at the loss and gain of brains, or highly qualified, brilliant professionals. In this regard, the US is no longer as attractive and would see only a 7% increase.